Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the first chapter, the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter is titled as The Activities of King Priyavrat. So I'll do a quick recap of what we have seen till now. So, so here Parikshit Maharaj, Srila Shukadeva Goswami in the previous chapter had mentioned about Priyavrat Maharaj. He said that he was a Mahabhagavat, he was an Atma Rama, completely self-satisfied, one who had completely um, dedicated his life and absorbed his life in meditating on Krishna. But then it is mentioned that this um, uh, Priyavrat Maharaj actually became attached to family life and he started enjoying family life. Like that, something like that had been mentioned. So this created a sense of uh, doubt in Parikshit Maharaj based on his own understanding of the principles of bhakti. So he says that how is it possible that he got attracted to household life, which is the cause of bondage to karma and defeats even the pure soul? So here in this context, we had an elaborate discussion as to is the household life the cause of bondage or attachment to household life a symptom of bondage? Okay. So it is not the cause of bondage when it is properly um, carried out according to the principles of the dharma. Okay. Then it actually releases one from bondage. We saw yesterday about these two parallel paths, the gradual path and the path of bhakti. In the gradual path, a person who is a materialistic person is inspired by the Vedas that yes, you want to enjoy, we will provide you all sources of enjoyment, but just follow these rules, gain piety. By that piety, you can enjoy. So he accepts the path of sakama karma, accepts a grihastha ashram, accepts the path of sakama karma, and gradually he starts performing the duties of his varna and ashrama according to um, the dharma shastras. And by that, gradually, there is purification of the goal that happens within his heart. So when there is purification of goal, he realizes that, uh, yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonai evate. Ultimately, things of this world will only cause more and more um, problem. It may give pleasure in the beginning, but it will give pain in the end. So I should not aspire for any material enjoyment. I should aspire for liberation. So in this way, gradually over a period of time, by accepting the Grihastha ashram and properly practicing it according to the rules and regulations, there is purification of goal that happens. And when the purification of goal that happens, uh, but purification of the anarthas or the swabhava takes a longer time. So because the purification of goal has happened, he goes from uh, the stage of sakama karma to nishkama karma, where he gives up all the kamya karmas and just engages in the nitya naimitika karmas, the daily and periodic duties. Uh, but he gives up those activities, those duties which are meant for achieving particular material goals. Okay. So we saw that this Nishkama Karma Yogi is like a typical sadhaka who has understood that the goal of life is prema, but still there is lot of material anarthas in the form of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, like that. So by diligent practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga, which is also practiced on the level of in the Grihastha ashram, there is cleansing of the anarthas that happens. Then he reaches the stage of Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, where he strives for Brahman realization, and then he becomes a Jivan Mukta, at which stage he gives up the Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga practices and practices only the limb of Bhakti, and then he attains Sahyajya Mukti. So this is the gradual path in which the Grihastha ashram is a very integral part which leads to actually purification. So Grihastha ashram household life in itself is not binding, huh? But household life is a symptom. Attachment to household life is a uh, symptom that the person still has impurities and he needs purification. And proper practice of the Grihastha ashram according to the Varnashram rules provides that facility for first purifying the goal through practice of Sakama Karma and subsequently purifying the anarthas through the practice of Nishkama Karma, both of which are practiced at the, the Grihastha ashram only. So Grihastha ashram is actually the ashram for purifying the goal first and the anarthas later. So this is in the gradual path. Okay. So then there is a parallel path of bhakti which does not lead to Sahyajya Mukti, but it leads to achieving the position of the associate of the Lord in prema in the spiritual world. So there a materialist or any one of these people, Sakama Karma Yogi, Nishkama Karma Yogi, any one of these people, when they come, when they meet the devotees and they experience the kripa of the devotees, Satam Kripa, Mahat Seva, and then by that Mahat Seva, they get some Agyata Sukriti. When that Agyata Sukriti gets accumulated, gradually there is transformation of goal. There is transformation of goal. Okay. And then when that goal becomes purified and they start aspiring for prema, that's when they enter into the realm of Shraddha. Okay. So then from Shraddha to Asakti, there is not just Anartha Nivritti, but there is Anartha Nivritti and Artha Pravritti also. And then they reach the stage of Bhava and Prema, which you can say is like the Jivan Mukta stage of the gradual path. And then eventually they attain, they become the associate of the Lord. So while the Grihastha ashram is almost non-negotiable, it's a non-negotiable stage of purification for the gradual path. On the path of bhakti, it is also very favorable, actually. On the path of bhakti also, it is very favorable, especially when someone's heart is not purified, they do have certain materialistic desires. Then it is best that they accept the Grihastha ashram and properly channelize those desires. So, in a way that is favorable for bhakti. Anukulyasya sankalpo pratikulyasya varjanam. But on the path of bhakti, Grihastha ashram is not a non-negotiable means of purification. Okay. On the gradual path, it is non-negotiable. Definitely, if there is lack of purification, then that purification has to come via the Grihastha ashram only. Whereas that Grihastha ashram is not so non-negotiable because the Karma Yoga is practiced as a Grihastha. But bhakti, for practicing Bhakti Yoga, Grihastha ashram is not so non-negotiable. It is favorable. It can be favorable for most people, but it is not absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, this is the difference. I hope you understand the difference between favorable and non-negotiable. Okay, something which is favorable is good. Favorable means it is good, very good. But it may not necessarily be non-negotiable, which means absolutely compulsory. Okay. So, yeah. So this is something that I want, we had discussed yesterday. Then he continues. Parikshit Maharaj continues his question. He says, persons such as Priyavrat Maharaj, who are completely free from material attachments, should certainly not become absorbed in family life. Na nunam griheshu abhinivesho bhavitum arhati. Uh, So such people who are completely mukta sangana, how is it possible? Vishayavishta chittasya vishnuavesha suduratah. So it is not possible for those who are completely absorbed in Krishna to be again absorbed in material life. So therefore, O Shukadeva Goswami, great souls whose minds are blissfully engaged in meditation of the lotus feet of the Lord are not so foolish to desire household life. So, na kutumbe spruha matihi. Okay. So, the main word here is spruha. Spruha. Aspiration. uh, Desire. Desire for um, householder life is generally should not be seen in such people. They should not be desiring. So it's not household life itself. It is the desire for household life. Okay. It is the desire for household life that is being described here. So therefore, my doubt is that though, and the second doubt is that you said later he became attached to wife, house, and children. And after that, it is mentioned that he attained perfection. And he always thought of Krishna. Now, how is this possible? First thing, for a person who is absorbed in Krishna and an Atma Rama, he should not be desiring household life. But Priyarat Maharaj did desire household life. Then, being after desiring household life and after being attached to household life, it is also mentioned that he eventually attained perfection and became absorbed in Krishna. Now, this is the second anomaly. How is this possible? This is not according to the understanding of the Siddhanta. So Shukadeva Goswami says, oh, what you say is correct, actually. But those whose minds are absorbed in the sweet taste of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, they generally do not give up the auspicious path of the topics of Krishna Katha. They are always engaged in hearing Krishna Katha. Okay. Even though there may be some obstacle, in the form of some intermittent inability to continuously hear because they have some family duties to take care, some duties of the kingdom which they may have to address. That is there. Kinchit antaraya vihatam. Even though there may be some seeming obstacles in between, but they never give up their attachment to hearing Krishna Katha. Um, so, so that we have to understand the eagerness. So, Shukadeva Goswami, he says that, but you should not think that the great devotees of inconceivable character would ever even temporarily become attached to material things. So, this inconceivable character we were discussing yesterday, we have discussed this many times that uh, one should not be judgmental of devotees. Okay. While we understand that we should not be judgmental of devotees, but the right principle of non-judgmentalism should be applied to particular categories of devotees. Uh, The right principles of non-judgmentalism. Okay. We saw that for universal controllers like Brahma, Indra, etc., the principle is Teji Asamna Doshaya. Okay. Yes, it may be wrong, but the same punishment principles and everything do not apply to them. Okay. They cannot be judged just like humans. Then, for perfected devotees, the principle is Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyahana Bhujai. it is not possible to understand the actions and the intentions of perfected devotees. So we were discussing yesterday that this principle should not be applied. This principle or the previous principle, Teji Asamna Doshaya, these principles should not be applied to seniors who are still sadhakas because it is not a principle that is applicable for them. Okay. So it's a dangerous principle when applied to seniors uh, who are still sadhakas, because when you become a senior, you will apply the same principle to yourself, and that can be a very dangerous thing. Tejiyasamna doshaya. For example, you may say that, oh, I am a senior. Don't worry. The principles that apply to you does not apply to me. Tejiyasamna doshaya. No, why you are speaking like this? Well, 15 years back, I applied the same principle to my senior, right? Just like it is like the college ragging culture. Okay. My senior ragged me when I was a junior. Now I will rag you, my junior, because that is a culture. Uh, that is the culture. So if Tejiyasamna Doshaya principle applied to my senior, then why would it not apply to me right now? Because I am also senior, 20 years into the moment. No. Similarly, the Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyahana Bhujaya also is a very dangerous principle which should not be applied to seniors who are still sadhakas, because that would just cover our eyes of obvious discrepancies in character. You cannot push it under the carpet by telling that, oh, we cannot understand the activities of great personalities. No, this is understandable. You are using the wrong principle to reconcile. You should not be judging, but you are using the wrong principle to reconcile and be non-judgmental, which can be dangerous. It will backfire actually. And you will tell this to your juniors also, right? Oh, don't worry, don't worry. Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyahana Bhujai. No, 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 no. That principle does not apply here. The principle is Drishtair Swabhava Janitair. Yes, conditioning will take its own time to go, but as long as they are practicing bhakti, the conditioning will go. So just like Krishna is patient with me uh, to overcome my conditioning, I should also be patient with the other person, and I should be hopeful that he will definitely overcome, because bhakti is capable of accomplishing anartha nivritti. That principle should be used. So this is very critical, because the wrong principle will lead to the ragging culture. My senior ragged me. I will rag my junior, because that is the culture. It is supposed to be done. So these Tejiyasam Doshaya and the Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra principles, one should be careful not to apply it to sadhakas. It should not be done. Because that way we are bringing down the principle of prema. We are bringing down the principle of prema, and we are making even sadhana bhakti very difficult to understand. We are bringing the principle of sadhana bhakti very difficult to understand. Oh, Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigyana Bhujai. Senior devotees acting in particular ways, very difficult to understand. Now, what is very difficult to understand here? Okay, one thing which I might be missing out is probably there is something which I don't know, some details which I don't know. That way, some kind of benefit of doubt can be given. Hmm. So, there is a question here, even though I don't take questions now, but still it is connected to our discussion. So, Kalanidhi Prabhu asks, Tejiyasam principle is clear, but our inner curiosity to find an explanation for their unusual behavior remains unsatisfied. How to deal with this urge? Uh, you mean you're talking about Shastric characters, or are you talking about our our own? seniors? Who is the object of your curiosity? The Shastric characters, or is it the devotees? Can you please clarify it in the chat box, Kalanidhi Prabhu? Because only then this can be answered. Oh, the Shastric characters. So the Shastric characters like Brahmaji, Indra. So this is the easiest to do because you depend on the explanation of the Acharyas. The Acharyas will give an explanation, definitely. So therefore, that curiosity will be fulfilled. There is no problem. Okay. Why they acted this way? An explanation will be there. Acharya, somewhere or other, some acharyas would give an explanation that will satisfy our heart. So we don't have to worry about that. Okay, anyways. So that is inconceivable, he uses. Great devotees of inconceivable character. It is not conceivable even to the sadhakas, how the prema bhaktas act. And Pavan Gaurang Prabhu asks, what about devotees? About devotees, this principle should not be applied only. I mean, especially if they are sadhakas, this principle is not applied. It should not be applied, this principle, because it is dangerous. Because if we apply to them, then we will apply to us also. So therefore, the best thing is, yes, whatever he is struggling with, as he is practicing bhakti and bhakti will purify him. That is the principle we should apply. And it's a reasonable principle, right? It's not like you're criticizing the devotee. So then he continues. But then he says, but the Shastras say that devotees also have obstacles. So what could be that obstacles due to? And he explains that there are two types of obstacles for devotees. That which is caused by great offense and that which is caused by the desire of the Lord. Great offense, the obstacles created by great offense can be rectified in two ways. One is by it is pacified over a long time after undergoing appropriate difficulties, or sometimes it may be very quickly removed also when there is some special mercy from the Lord or any other Vaishnava. The examples of these two types of pacification is Dvivida and Rahugana. Sometimes by Lord's desire, when he wants to teach proper conduct to the devotee himself, or he wants to teach proper conduct to others through the devotee, or sometimes the Lord may want to increase the intensity of prema of that devotee before making him into an associate. For such reasons, the Lord may orchestrate some external obstacles. Okay. The example is Bharat Maharaj. Okay. And then here, Srila Vishwanath Thakur clarifies that since Priyavrat did not commit offense, his obstacle arose by the desire of the Lord. So, it should be understood in the case of Priyavrat that the Lord taught that the devotee should follow the orders of superiors, though it is not suitable for bhakti, by showing how Priyavrat followed the orders of Brahma. We had a discussion on this theme also, that he wanted to show that how the orders of the superiors are to be followed even if it is contrary to one's bhakti. So this talks about uh, superiors who are very exalted. Superiors who are very clearly exalted, not in just in terms of number of years spent, but in terms of their devotional maturity. Okay. So we saw the example of Prabhupada once. One of the Prabhupada's disciples wrote that because I'm spending throughout the day in the field, I'm not able to complete my 16 rounds. Srila Prabhupada said, because you are sincerely working for Krishna on the fields, you don't have to complete your 16 rounds. Like, okay. So now one may say that, he is not even so, but because it comes from an established acharya, okay, so therefore you accept it. But if someone is not on that level, and if he gives an instruction which might seemingly be clearly an obstacle to one's bhakti, then it is better we get it clarified. Okay. So better we get it clarified like that. So Shukadeva Goswami continues. When Priyavrat, who had become fully conversant with the highest goal and truth by serving Narada Muni, had attained initiation by meditating on Atma, he was requested by when his father Manu, Swayambhu Manu, requested him to rule the earth because he possessed all the qualities mentioned in the scriptures for kingship, but because he was completely absorbed with all his senses in worshipping the Supreme Lord, therefore he did not welcome that suggestion, even though the instruction of an elder should not be refused. But he was not willing to accept it. He considered that it would become unfavorable for him because he would display lust and anger in himself when ruling the kingdom. Okay. So his status as an Atmarama was natural. Only by the order of Brahma did he take up household life. So it is mentioned that at that moment, because he steadily manifested all the qualities mentioned in the scriptures. So we saw that in the case of Swayambhu Manu's lineage, actually Priyavrat was the elder son. He should have taken up the kingdom. But Swayambhu Manu, understanding that the nature and inclination of Priyavrat Maharaj did not force him, actually. He actually made Uttanapad the king. Priyavrat was happy, Uttanapad was happy. But Uttanapad's lineage continued till the Prachetas, and Pracheta's son was Daksha. Daksha, more than ruling a kingdom, he was more interested in regaining the the position of the Prajapati. So he started performing austerities, which continued for about from the half of first Manvantara till the end of the fifth Manvantara. For 4.5 Manvantaras, he performed austerities. So his lineage stopped. So Priyavrat had to be called. Now, lot of questions came. Why was Uttanapadri called? So the principle is that in the Varnashrama system, once someone, a Grihastha, gives up his Grihastha ashram and moves on to become a Vanaprastha or a sannyasi, there is no question of calling them back. That is not allowed. But at least in the case of Priyavrat Maharaj, that was not the case. He was still celibate. He was still unmarried. He had not even taken up to the Grihastha ashram. So he can be called. He was still technically a brahmachari only. So there is no social roadblocks to calling Priyavrat Maharaj to rule. Otherwise, not just Uttanapad. After Uttanapad, so many of Uttanapad's descendants were there. They could have been recalled. What to speak of? Why think about Uttanapad? Why not the Prachetas? Why not Prachina Barhi? Why not Anga? Why not Vena? Sorry, Vena was dead. Why not Prithu Maharaj? So many such personalities are there. But the point is that because they had given up household life and moved on to becoming Vanaprasthas, there is no question of calling them back because that would be a social roadblock. Okay. But Priyavrat, uh, only from a devotional perspective, he had become a Mahabhagavat, but still from a social perspective, was a brahmachari. So he can be induced to become a grihastha. That is socially acceptable. Okay. And he had all the qualities, kingly qualities. So, but he did not welcome that request because he thought it was not beneficial for him. So, though what his father said could not be rejected, he protested, saying, "Oh, I will not rule the kingdom," because he thought it can induce qualities like lust and anger in ruling the kingdom. At that point of time, Brahmaji arrived there. Okay. So here it is mentioned, yeah, like the moon in the sky, Brahma worshipped on the way by the chief devatas. Okay, we did see this. Narada realizing that it was Brahma, his father, by seeing his swan carrier, immediately stood up and with folded hands approached him with articles of worship along with Priyavrata and Swayambhu Manu. Yeah, here also we saw that it is not that mm, it is not that uh, only uh, uh, they could Narada and others and Swayambhu Manu, they could identify their father only by seeing the swan. So we should understand that this must have been from a distance. From a distance, they saw the swan carrier because the swan carrier is obviously physically looks bigger than Brahmaji. So when they look at the swan carrier, they understand that it is their father who must have come or who is coming. After Narada Manu and Priyavrat Maharaj presented offerings, Lord Brahma, looking at Priyavrat with mercy and a smile, he spoke. So here, Brahmaji is addressed as Avatara Sujayah, whose glorious appearance of affection for the progeny is Suukta Vakena Atitaram Udita Gunagana, is glorified constantly by the Vedas. The Vedas glorify Brahmaji's intense um, desire to benefit the living entities. So therefore, even though Brahmaji is asking Priyavrat Maharaj to take up the householder life, one should not think that his commitment or his desire to benefit the living entities is compromised here. Okay, it is not like that. So this is where we ended our discussion yesterday. Let us start another maybe half an hour. We will cover today's sections and we will open up for some discussion. So he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Nibodatatetam Nibodatatetamritam Bravimi Masu devamarhasya prameyam Vayam bhavaste tata esha maharshir Vahama sarve vivashayasya dishtam. O dear son, Niboda idam. Just reflect on this. Ritam bravimi. I speak the truth. Ma arhasi asuyitum devam. You should not hate the Lord. I mean, this is, this is like a thunderbolt if not understood properly. Brahmaji is telling to Priyavrat Maharaj, who was a Mahabhagavat, you should not hate the Lord. Aprameyam, who is beyond estimation. You should not hate the Lord. I mean, this is very bewildering. If this is spoken to an atheist, that can be understood. But he is speaking like this to Priyavrat Maharaj. You should not hate the Lord who is beyond estimation. Vayam, Bhavas, Tata, I, Lord Shiva, Manu, Yeshate Maharshihi, and this guru of yours, this guru of yours, who is kind of, on the other side. Swayambhu Manu and Brahma are on one side. Narada Muni and Priyavrat Maharaj are on the other side. Okay. So, so uh, the grandfather and father are on one side. Okay. And the uncle and the nephew are on the other side. It's all a family matter only. Okay. It's all a family matter. Narada Muni is the brother of Swayambhu Manu, the son of Brahma. Swayambhu Manu is another son of Brahma. So that way, Narada was the uncle. Narada was the uncle. So the grandfather and father were on one side. Uncle and the nephew were on the other side. Okay. Now they are, uh, so he says, so here he says, someone may say, why is it Sri Bhagavan Uvacha? Because of great personality. So the same personality, the same Vishnu Puran verse, which is oftentimes quoted, uh, uh, Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasya shriya. So that verse which indicates what is the meaning of the word Bhagavan when applied to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there Parashara Muni in that same literature gives some qualifications for human beings who can also be called as Bhagavan. Okay. I will find that verse and share it maybe sometime. Um, Many times the word Bhagavan is used to address Narada Muni, Maitreya, and so many other such personalities. So there it is mentioned that something like one who has certain qualities, who has clearly understood uh, the the teachings or the conclusions of the Shastras, they can also be called as Bhagavan. Okay, like that. So he says, please reflect on this. I speak the truth. You should not hate the Lord. I, Lord Shiva, Manu, and this Narada, your guru, helplessly follow his order. So he is not even, Brahmaji is not even presenting this as his own order or Swayambhu Manu's order. He says this is the Lord's order. Uh, This is the Lord's order. Okay. So please do not hate the Lord. Okay. This is a very interesting principle, but this can be misused also. Okay. This can be misused, and I will tell how this can be misused. We will just go through this. Do not hate me, thinking that my words fixed on active life are intolerable to you. Active life means grihastha life. I am also dependent on your Lord. I will speak about what He wants you to do. Consider this with your intelligence, Niboda, O son. This implies, I am not your enemy who will make you suffer. I speak the truth. I am not deceiving you. I speak as Brahma and I am not to be taken as a person without authority like your father. Okay. So, what is the truth? I, Shiva, and your father Manu and Narada, your guru, carry out the order of the Lord. Whatever he instructs in the heart of any of us, we must follow. By his order, I am engaging you in ruling the kingdom. Do not find fault with your Lord, thinking that the Lord whom you worship with with all your heart has cast you into the ocean of samsara. Don't think that why the Lord has done this to me. Don't hate the Lord. Don't doubt. When he says don't hate the Lord, what he means here is don't doubt the intention of your Lord. Don't doubt the intention of your Lord. That's what it means. So he says, do not hate him. He cannot be estimated. Aprameyam. He quickly delivers one person whom he engages in actions in this world, and he does not quickly deliver another person who is in the forest. No one knows his activity. So this is the point. You think that, oh, why is he engaging me in this household life? Ultimately, you don't want to be engaged in the household life. For what reason? Because you don't want your deliverance to be delayed. Correct? Yeah. But the Lord is aprameya. The Lord is aprameya. Means you cannot understand. You may see that one devotee may get exclusive, may no family encumbrances, no family responsibility. Full day he can sit and study and chant and do everything. The Lord may delay his perfection. And you may have a grihastha who is engaged in all kinds of family activities, and with whatever time he gets, he is engaging in Krishna conscious activities. He says that the Lord may deliver him faster. So the Lord is aprameya. So don't worry. Don't think that everything is dependent on your sadhana. Okay, sometimes this has to also be mentioned. On one hand, people think everything is mercy, everything is mercy, I don't have to do anything. Those people have to be given different, uh, those people have to be told, oh, look, this is two fingers too short. And one of the finger is the endeavor finger. Don't forget the endeavor finger. And there are other people who get too absorbed in their sadhana and they say, my sadhana, my sadhana, my sadhana. And then they have to be remembered. Remember, it is two fingers too short. One finger is the mercy finger. Okay. Don't really, the Lord is aprameya. By calling the Lord aprameya, he says that the other finger is the mercy finger. Don't think that everything depends on your sadhana only. Okay. So both needs a change of mentality where one thinks that I have to fend for myself, my sadhana. And the other person thinks everything mercy will take care. Hmm. Everything mercy will take care. Okay. Like that. I just have to sit on the conveyor belt and I will be delivered to the lotus feet of Krishna. I'll be literally thrown at the lotus feet of Krishna. No, it's not like that. So here, uh, Priyavrat Maharaj has to be told the other thing. Hey, wait, don't worry. The Lord is Aprame. What he will do, you don't know. You just be sincere. In whatever position you are put in, you just be sincere. He will respond to sincerity. Okay. So, so now here, this is a very interesting point. I want to touch this point. It's a little sensitive point. Uh, we had discussed this theme in our unspoken obstacles on the path to bhakti sessions also. But this is something which we have to very carefully think. The principle is, it is not my order, it is the Lord's order. Okay. So oftentimes we do that when we wish to engage our subordinates in a service which is very inconvenient for them. The easiest way to make them accept is by telling, Ray, don't think that I am engaging you. Maharaj wants it. So what they mean is, by saying no, you are saying no to Maharaj. Okay. So suddenly the disciple feels guilty. How can I say no to Maharaj? Okay. And he will end up doing it. So this is actually using a kind of guilt tactics to get the thing done. Okay. So that ideally should not be used, and Brahmaji is not using it here. Brahmaji is not using it here. Okay. So we so how does um, a senior disciple of a guru, how does he inspire attachment to the guru in a junior disciple? By his own exemplary character. By his own exemplary character. By showing love and affection and sensitivity, he shows that this is how you will become if you surrender nicely to our Guru Maharaj. That is unspoken. That is unspoken. Otherwise, if someone uses this kind of tactics, guilt tactics, gaslighting tactics, oh, you are not surrendered to Guru. You are not surrendering to Guru. Oh, I thought this is Guru Maharaj's project. I mean, everyone knows that it is Guru Maharaj's project. You will make them feel that by not engaging in this particular part, the person is going against Guru Maharaj. But the principle is, it may not be it may not be the issue with Guru Maharaj, it may be the issue with uh, the insensitive dealings of the intermediate. But you will make them feel that they have a problem with Guru Maharaj rather than uh, rather than understanding that it is not a problem with Guru Maharaj, it may be a problem with me, the intermediate who is engaging them in that service. So this is a very subtle point, and one should not think that Brahmaji is doing it here. That uh, that oh look, I mean it is the Lord's order. Okay, if you say no, you are saying no to the Supreme Lord. That's all. Okay, so this is a very important principle, that the intermediate authority should always feel that that when a subordinate is unwilling to follow, it may be my problem. It may be my problem. That's how he should take. He should not think that he is a unsurrendered disciple. Why stretch it till the Guru? Why stretch it till the Guru? It may not be a problem with the Guru. Like this is very simple. I mean, even in the material world, you see, even in the material world, you see, how many of you have had this experience? I will ask you a question. You can share your experience. You yourself or your children, okay, they were very bad in one subject. Okay, they were very bad in one subject. Okay, and you think that, oh, this person cannot do mathematics. Okay, and suddenly in a particular grade, they get a really good teacher. They get a very good teacher, very encouraging teacher. And suddenly the child develops love for the subject. The child develops love for the subject and actually starts doing very well in the subject. Have you ever had this experience in your life, in your own life, or in the children that you have seen? Your children or your own life? Has it ever happened? Correct, right? Yeah. So now the same thing, if you see, now if you say that the subject is the Guru, mathematics is Guru, the teacher is the subordinate, okay, and the student is the junior disciple. Okay. Now I think you understand what I am trying to convey. Sometimes when a good teacher is there, the student has no problem with the subject itself. The student has no problem with the subject itself. The problem could be with the teacher. If the teacher is good, considerate, encouraging, if he has the ability to create love for the subject, then definitely the student will develop love for the subject and start loving the subject and start doing it very well. So, but what if the teacher blames the student for having no attachment for the subject? You don't like maths. You don't, you can't do maths. You have no capacity for maths. If he keeps telling like that, then what will happen? The student will also start feeling that, yes, I don't. So then by that, what happens? Or with this kind of guilt tactics, what happens? The student may be forced to actually hate the subject. So in our context, the junior disciple may actually develop some negative feelings towards the spiritual master only. Okay. So these are very subtle things, but these are real things. This can really happen. Okay. So this is something that we need to understand. Anyways, so okay. Now let us continue. So one should understand that Brahmaji is not doing it here to Priyavrat Maharaj. That, hey, you know what? You are going to disobey the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself? Like that. No. He says, न तस्य कश्चित् तपसा विद्यया वा न योगवीर्येण मनीषया वा नैवार्थधर्मै परतस्वतो वा कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात् न कश्चित् तनुभृद्विहन्तुं विभूयात्. One cannot avoid tasya kritam, the order of the Lord, tapasa vidyayava, by one's power of austerity, knowledge, yoga viryena manishayava, or by yoga or by one's own independent intelligence, artha dharmaihi, by wealth or by dharma, parataswatova, or by relying on other strength or one's own. So one cannot avoid the order of the Lord. So he is telling it because Brahmaji has has the trust of he has the trust of Priyavrat Maharaj. He has the trust of Priyavrat Maharaj. Otherwise, the same statement can create unfavorable emotions in the disciple. When the senior disciple says, you know what? If you want to survive in spiritual life, you cannot actually disobey the orders of the Guru. When this statement comes, especially from that senior disciple who is engaging that junior disciple in an inappropriate way in the service of the Guru, nevertheless, it creates lot of internal turmoil and tension in the heart of the subordinate, which, when not addressed favorably over a long period of time, can actually create negative emotions towards the spiritual master himself. Towards the spiritual master himself. So here, in the case of Priyavrat Maharaj, Falena Parichiyate. Look at the fruit. Because he had the trustworthy relationship with the Brahmaji. When Brahma tells this, it creates the favorable impact. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, is it the desire of the Supreme Lord? Oh, okay, fine. Then I will do it. So he takes it that way because he has that trustworthy relationship with Brahma. Therefore, Brahmaji can very comfortably say this. Okay. One should not show one's strength of austerity, knowledge, or yoga in order to protect one's stubbornness. You see, the same principle. So austerity, knowledge, stubbornness, etc. is the sadhana, if you say. So here, Brahmaji is telling, hey, Priyavrat Maharaj, remember the other finger. The other finger is the mercy finger. Don't think that you can achieve everything um, hmm, just by following your sadhana. One cannot avoid what is decided by the Lord by performing austerity and other actions. But someone may ask, but just as the Lord makes me take up the kingdom through you, he makes me renounce through Narada. What do I decide? This is a very valid point. You are one of the Mahajans. Narada is another Mahajan. One Mahajan is telling, get married, rule the kingdom. Another Mahajan is telling, stay as a brahmachari and focus on your core devotional practices. Which Mahajan should I follow? Both of you are Mahajans. Now, which one should I follow? This question arises. He says, by thinking in this way, you desire to conquer me, the Lord, by your intelligence. Don't try to conquer me by your intelligence. Considering both of these orders of the Lord while ruling the kingdom, and at the same time, you can practice renunciation by being unattached to those duties. By being unattached to those duties. By asking you to rule the kingdom, who is asking you to get attached to the kingdom? You don't have to do that. Do not try to rule by making someone a substitute representative by giving him sufficient wealth. You don't give an unqualified person, give him a lot of wealth. Are you do on my part, on my behalf, you do. Don't do that, he says. And do not desire to cross these difficulties by many pious acts or taking shelter of others' strength or one's own strength. Just follow the order. Okay, one more verse we'll complete. भवाय नाशाय च कर्म कर्तुं शोकाय मोहाय सदा भयाय सुखाय दुःखाय च देहयोगम् अव्यक्तदिष्टं जनतांग दत्ते. O Priyavrat, all jivas always attain bodies as directed by the Lord. Avyaktadishtam. For what purpose? Karma kartum, to perform actions. What kind of actions? Bhavaya nashaya cha, to perform actions for repeated birth and death. And shokaya mohaya, and for lamentation, illusion, bhayaya, sukaya, dukkaya, fear, happiness, distress. Understand that everything in this world happens according to the Lord's desire only, and according to the Lord's direction. One should not lament about this, because all embodied souls dependent on the Lord tolerate all auspicious and inauspicious conditions by their own desire or others' desires. All jivas always accept a combination with bodies given by the Lord for performing actions for repeated birth and death. They accept bodies earned by their actions, karmas, only by the order of the Lord, which means even law of karma uh, functions according to the order of the Lord only. Just as the citizens accept certain results, such as agricultural land or prison, according to their actions only by the order of the king. The king alone can do otherwise. Therefore, because of him, you should obey. That's again, we were discussing that Brahmaji is able to tell this uh, because uh, because Brahmaji is acting as a trustworthy intermediate. Is acting as a trustworthy intermediate. That is why, if you see, without any uh, hurt feelings, Priyavrat Maharaj accepts when Brahmaji says, okay, we will pause here for some discussion. If there are any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share, ask, add, we can take it right now. There are some questions in the chat box. Let's take them first, and then we will come to verbal questions. Um, um, It's understood that one must not judge, but because of judgments over the years, one must have gone through traumatic experiences and even aversion towards bhakti. How do we help ourselves to get out of critical judgments? Yeah, it is actually difficult, because it is our experience which shapes. uh, it is our experience um, which shapes our faith, our disposition towards people, process, everything. Okay. It is very natural. Uh, But the point is, if we are at least somewhat convinced that uh, that the path is right, but the people whom I have come across have ruined my faith in the process, then, but if you have that tinge of faith still, that the path is right and Prabhupada is right, then at least, you know, at least on that, we should try to nurture that faith. We should try to nurture that faith by looking for good association, which may foster our faith in Srila Prabhupada, who may foster our faith in Krishna in the process of bhakti. Look for it rather than giving it up. Hmm. So we should take that responsibility. If we have even the glimmer of faith that yes, the process is right and Prabhupada is there, uh, uh, he's my well-wisher. Okay. So at least that much. And on top of that, if you have faith in your guru, that is still better. Okay, at least hear his classes and regain and nurture that faith. Like that. What about Daksha? Why was he not called? because he was very clear that he wanted to become a Prajapati, and probably it was the desire of the universal controllers also that he actually become a Prajapati, because probably he was qualified for that. There is no explanation given, so I cannot comment on that. Okay, next thing. From Prevrat's story, we see that even a perfected soul absorbed in prema is not immune from external disturbances. Should we understand that the Lord's will alone as the only explanation? Yeah, the external disturbances in a perfected devotee are only induced by the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible for someone at the stage of bhava or prema to be disturbed like that. Okay. Yeah, Brahmaji is directly using the Lord's name. Yes. Is Priyavrat at this stage, a sadhana bhakta or a prema bhakta? He is a perfected devotee. It is very clearly mentioned that he was a perfected devotee. Krishna is very clear that any devotional service must be spontaneous and devotees must be inspired to do service instead of compelling. Sometimes it's not happening. Yeah. At least we should not do it to our subordinates. Yeah. Oh, so many people have shared that that yes, I thought I was not good at something, but till I got a good teacher, then I became better. Is this argument for a junior to be disobedient? I don't understand the question clearly. We will take it maybe later. Brahmaji is very laconic, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is articulate and helps our deeper understanding. How can devotees develop this ability to understand deeply? By So basically, Kalanidhi Prabhu's question is, uh, how can we develop this Shastra Yukti, the logic of the Shastras, by connecting with the words of the Acharyas? We don't have to be eager to understand the deeper thing, but we should be eager to the deep insights to hear and learn the deeper insights given by the Acharyas. And when we keep doing it, one naturally develops that intuition over a period of time with purification of heart, of course. One naturally develops that intuition over a period of time. Being unattached to the duties or the kingdom. Second one is understandable, but not clear with the first one. Being unattached to the duties means performing duties while understanding that these duties are performed for Lokasangraha purpose, but these are not devotional duties, which I am doing it for my own personal nourishment. In that sense, one should perform the duties. If a devotee is performing the duties, that should be the mentality with which he should be performing it. So that is the meaning of detachment from duties. Okay, regarding offenses, if we are behaving as per laid down principles of Vaishnava etiquettes, still the other person feels offensive, though we are not at fault, whether this will give us reactions. Yeah, I mean, it is, if the other person is taking offense, that's his problem. But when we know that the other person has taken offense, then we should try to do as much as possible to pacify and seek up, as for apologies. Okay, that should be done. How do we understand whether one's suffering is due to, I would add one more word here. How would we understand whether one's own suffering is due to aparad or because of lack of desire, because of desire of the Lord? So if we are looking at one's own suffering, then always the principle is tattenu kampam susamikshmano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. One should always see, a Vaishnava will always see that my suffering is due to my own misuse of the free will, my own commission of offenses. But at the same time, I should be actually suffering much more than this, but the Lord is very merciful that He has mitigated my suffering. Okay. That should be the principle. We should always see it like that. We should see the Lord's intervention in reducing that suffering which we deserve due to our own misuse of free will. So that way, that is the favorable So Lord's desire should be seen in that way. That is the favorable way of looking at one's own life situations and sufferings and everything. Okay. Relationship takes precedence over service, and bhakti takes precedence over sattvic qualities. Now, these two principles seem to counteract each other because the relationship can only be favorable with sattvic qualities, and the issues mostly surface from the lower modes. Well, uh, uh, relationship takes precedence over service. I mean, both are important. Both are important. Um, yeah, relationship to maintain relationships, sattvic qualities are important. But then, even if sattvic qualities are not there, you know, we at least try to uh, act appropriately because of the value system. We can't wait till sattva guna to manifest in order to act in sattva guna. We know that this is appropriate behavior, and I have to do it for my own spiritual life. Then we do it, even though we may not internally feel the impetus. That impetus may not come from our gunas, but the impetus can come from our value system. So we have to equip ourselves with the value system. Like, for example, exam is coming. I don't like mathematics. Okay. I don't like mathematics. So what? You don't like mathematics, you don't study it later, but you have to pass your 12th grade exam. After passing 12th grade, you take any branch which may not involve mathematics. But the bare minimum mathematics, whether you like it or not, you have to study and pass. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. So, uh, so we cannot blame it on the modes. Uh, if we have the right value system, we have to take strength from that value system and do the appropriate things rather than blaming the modes. So that should be our mentality. Sometimes senior devotees do spiritual blackmailing for the by the name of Guru Maharaj or spiritual growth, despite devotees does not follow at that time due to some financial and family problems. What should we do? It looks like this is more in terms of fundraising. Oh, you're not doing it. This is for Guru Maharaj project and things like that. Ideally, even though there may be some genuine reason for the devotees, they may have some financial issues in there. Yeah, the senior devotee should be very clear that, it's a voluntary system. And Prabhupada clearly said, as preachers, our role is to fan the spark of voluntary spirit. Okay. We should not make bhakti into a where it is forced completely. What about junior's attitude? If senior is to be seemingly insufficient to convince him by his example, yeah, the junior's attitude should be, oh, I am doing it for my Guru Maharaj. I am doing it for Srila Prabhupada. That should be his attitude. So, um, so rather than seeing it, so this is the seeming irony. Uh, the when the when the intermediate senior devotee is seeing that the subordinate is not doing, he should take the blame upon himself. He is not doing because I am not acting as a proper, transparent via media of my guru. Okay. Whereas when the junior sees the incompetence of the intermediate via media, he should see, okay, the intermediate via media may be incompetent, but I am doing it for the pleasure of Guru and Prabhupada. So let me do it. So that way, this is the irony. Okay. This. Okay, there is another question. How about having targets to devotees for various projects? Is it okay if done encouragingly? Yeah. Yeah. They should ask for targets. That is the best. If we say that, Prabhu, please set a target. Please set a target, uh, how much we should do. Rather than, Array, what target is going to come? Like that, they should not feel that anxiety. Also for perfected devotees, it's the Lord's will. For me, it's my own karma. Is it good to understand like this? Well, it depends on what you mean by karma. If you say karma means my own act, I am suffering due to my own act. Yeah, uh, that is favorable. But having said that, one should also understand that I am suffering because of my own misuse of my free will, but still Krishna has not abandoned me. He has not abandoned me in the hands of the law of karma. That faith should be there. Okay, like that. Okay, there are some hands up. Oh my God, many hands up. Okay, we have some time. Okay, let's take one. Yes, Sridhama Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji, in the lecture you mentioned about that if we see some behavior of seniors, we should not apply this Vaishnavera Kriya
Kriya
Mudra.
Mudra. Yeah,
Yeah. So you said that we should understand that this is probably because they're still struggling with their anarthas or whatever it is.
yeah.
Now, my question is, should we even judge, and how do we judge that whether this person is a pure devotee, he's just acting in a humble way, or he's, right now he's actually struggling with his senses. So, okay, let's just move on, because it's dangerous territory, slippery territory. Whichever way you look at it, it's slippery territory. So, if
Mm.
we see some senior Vaishnava behaving in a particular way, should we
Mhm.
even go into that territory of judging? Ki, oh, it's this is a Vaishnava behavior, so he's behaving like this, or that maybe he's still struggling with he still has his conditioning, so it's okay. It's slippery territory. So, how do we deal with this?
Well, if it was such a slippery territory, then the Shastras would not give clear-cut symptoms of, what are the symptoms of Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, what are the symptoms of Asakti, what are the symptoms of Nishta, Ruchi, etc. Uh,
Mm,
so then they could as well say that don't judge, see with equal vision, give them the benefit of doubt that they are very advanced. Okay. Uh, then why would in Nectar of Instruction Srila Rupa Goswami say that Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajantamesham shushrushaya bhajana vigyam ananyam anya nindadi shunya hridamikshita sangalabdya, where he says that the respect should be given appropriate to one's level of advancement. And he gives, okay, this is a Kanishtadikari, this is a Madhyamadikari, and this is a Uttamadikari. These are the symptoms. And according to that, you should give respect. So while the principle is that we accept the principle of respect, that everyone should be respected. Okay. Everyone should be respected. That should be very clearly deep rooted in our heart. So discrimination should have the foundation of respect. When we have to discriminate devotees, that discrimination should have a foundation of respect. If that does not have the foundation of respect, then it can become unfavorable, unhealthy judgmentalism. So therefore, before even applying the uh, tenets of the Shastras or the indications of the Shastras, talking about, who is qualified, how much, that whole exercise should have the foundation of respect. Sakale samman korite shakati dehonata jata jata. So I should be giving respect to everyone. But in that he says, yata yata. As much as one rightly deserves, oh my dear Lord, please empower me to give respect to everyone according to what they deserve. Jata jata. So therefore, yes, one should definitely, before evaluating, we should also ensure that there is a good platform of respect. We want to evaluate to respect. We don't want to evaluate to disrespect or to justify my disrespect. So, so as long as that foundation is clear, then the Shastras do recommend that we do. Otherwise, you cannot give the same respect to everyone. And we don't do that anyways. We don't give the same respect to everyone. You don't give the same respect that you give to your Guru Maharaj that you will give to your God brother. Now, someone may ask, how do you know that your God brother is not as qualified as your Guru Maharaj? Is it impossible? Now, what will we do? We may ask, are you judging, or have you internally, are you convinced that your God brother is less qualified? Is that why you are not offering full Dandavat pranams to him? I mean, we naturally do it. The main point is that evaluation according to the symptoms should have a foundation of respect, and not a foundation of disrespect. Not that we are finding reasons to justify our disrespect of that person. Then I think it should be applied.
Prabhuji,
Is
one more
that
point.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is nice. This is nice. Prabhuji, one more point that the children, like when we have children, you
Mhm.
spoke about this point about not trying to make people guilty by
Mhm.
our words,
Yeah, yeah,
But this comes very naturally to us, and it's just, it's like almost inbuilt that,
yeah,
when you're trying to correct somebody, if they listen nicely, fine, but if they don't, then we try the Samdam Dandabhed way, so we try to tell them about the future things, implications.
yeah,
They don't listen to that. Then
yeah,
finally, it comes to guilt. It comes to emotional blackmail. And all of these
yeah,
things, it just naturally flows. I mean, we don't even have to make an effort for it. It just comes like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, of course, when we're with devotees, we're a little more guarded, but
Mm,
with our own, children or family or close friends, we tend to be like this, that,
yeah.
very, very easily we flow into these things. So,
I
how do we
Yeah.
avoid things?
I totally accept 100% guaranteed. I accept whatever you said, because I struggle with the same thing with near and dear ones. It's uh, you know it's very difficult to apply these principles. It comes very naturally. All these techniques of, because uh, we are desperate to change them, or sometimes whatever may be the reason. But the point is that sometimes we go overboard, and in our desperation, uh, in our desperate attempt to wanting them do the right thing, uh, we push them to hate the right thing. We may end up making them do it, but in the long run, we may end up making them hate the right thing, or not want to do the right thing. So it all starts with good intentions. We have the good intentions. There is no doubt about it. Otherwise, for any Tom, Dick, and Harry, we will not push these things. So we don't have to be too harsh on ourselves. But the point is, along with the intentions, we should not lose track of doing the right thing. Like we say, right? Do the right thing and leave the right impression. So oftentimes we get caught up in doing the right thing, but not in leaving the right impression. So this is where the problem is. Actually, the more detached we are, the more we can do the right thing and leave the right impression also. But this attachment is actually pushes us overboard, and it's natural. You know, we are very naturally, very affectionately attached to our children, our parents, and our friends. Uh, that sometimes we get so caught up in somehow pushing them to do the right thing, that we sometimes lose track, that we realize much later that in trying to make them do the right thing, we actually push them to actually develop negative feelings towards the right things. So that is actually something we have to be very careful.
But there's no solution for this.
I mean, we have to constantly do manasiksha. They'll keep telling us ourselves. Don't get carried away. Don't get carried away. That's why my father, in one sense, he's at least not yet a devotee, but I have learned a lot from him. It's very, in that sense, very detached. Never push. His principle, he was a teacher early in his career. His aim always, whether as a teacher or subsequently, was not to push people to do the right thing, but to inspire them uh, to like the subject. He was a mathematics teacher. So uh, his idea was, I have to create his goal. He had set the goal very clear. My goal, generally teachers will have what? I want to ensure that all my students get extraordinary marks. No, his aim was all my students, somehow I should help them come one step closer to loving mathematics. So when that goal is clear, then we don't wish to push them to do the right things. All the endeavor has been to help them develop some uh, favorable feelings towards the right things. So it's just that we have to reset our goals within our minds. My goal is that uh, my child should develop some attraction towards chanting, some attraction towards spiritual life. That's all. Not that I want them to do. I want them to get attracted like that.
Yes, bro. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Madhavi Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Prabhuji, this Brahmaji telling that Lord wishes to do it, like whether this reference comes somewhere that Lord has, or it Lord manifested means in the heart of Brahma and he had told Brahmaji, like,
It is
because
all assumed. It is all assumed. When Brahmaji says this is the Lord's desire, then we have full trust that Brahmaji is telling the truth. So that's all. I mean, for every
okay.
single thing, there need not be a pastime which is presented in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is understood. It is
Okay.
understood that it is the Lord's desire. When Brahmaji is saying this, then that is good enough.
Okay, and one more thing, Prabhuji, like here we see that when in the same lineage, Prachin Barhi had to be taken to the path of pure devotion, irrespective of the Prachetas not coming back soon. Still, he was sent for that, means in the forest to pursue that path.
Yeah,
But the one like Priyavrat Maharaj, who is already pursuing that path and perfected that path, he's called back. Means actually, Uttanapad and Priyavrat Maharaj are brothers. After that, so many generations have passed.
yeah,
So, in spite of that, means you explained about Daksha that yes, and maybe the Lord also wanted him to be Prajapati, so he was not touched like that. But
yeah,
how we understand, like what principle is applied when Prabhuji, like these are two contrasting situations now, like
yeah.
Prachindari
So
and Priyavratna.
if the acharyas have not mentioned, then we can only try to apply some shastric logic to come to some possible answers for this. We cannot pinpoint because the acharyas have not mentioned.
Okay,
This could
because
be a reason, this
uh,
could be a reason, but we don't know because the acharyas have not mentioned.
yeah, because it
That is why
creates a lot of confusion. Yeah.
actually, when I asked His Holiness Banuswami Maharaj some questions, for many of the questions, Maharaj's answer is not mentioned. That's all. Not mentioned means, what do you understand? It means it is not mentioned. It means the
Okay.
acharyas have not explained it. That's all.
Yeah, because sometimes means there should be a ruler for the kingdom is given priority out of
Yeah.
all odds, and
Mm.
sometimes that is not the priority at all. So that is why it becomes very difficult
Yeah,
to
it
understand.
looks
Yeah.
like definitely it is quite clear from some of the past times. But what is the principle? Somehow the acharyas have not felt that it is something very critical to address in their commentary. So they have not addressed, so we do not know.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Keshav Priya Mataji.
Prabhuji, just a small thing, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, here you said that Priyavat Maharaj, I mean, Priyavat is a perfect devotee, like he is a Mahabhagavata only.
Yeah.
But here Brahma is explaining everything like what it is explained to a sadhaka neophyte devotee like me, Prabhuji, like everything is Lord's will, you should follow. Like all these things, he must be 100% knowing them, Prabhuji, because he is fully in Smaranam of the Lord. He'll be
Yeah,
knowing that.
Swayambhu Manu did this to Dhruva Maharaj also. Dhruva Maharaj was also a perfected devotee.
No, Prabhuji, but when he was doing Dhruva,
When
initially he was not a
Dhruva
perfect
Maharaj went,
devotee.
no, not initially, later when he was killing the
Oh, that
Yakshas.
yeah. But
So
he did some activity which was not like a perfect devotee, Prabhuji. Here, no, Prabhuji, the simple instruction that everything is happening by Lord's will, and this.
this is for pastime purpose. The Lord
Oh.
uses these personalities for pastime purposes. That's all.
Otherwise, he must be knowing only, na Prabhuji. Privat Maharaj will be knowing all these things what Brahmaji is telling here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sita Komal Mataji. You have to unmute yourself, Mataji. Okay. Brajendra Kumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhu, my question is, can you please try to reconcile the instruction of Brahma to Kumaras and instruction of Brahma to Privat Maharaj?
Yeah, I mean, the same instruction was given, right? In both
But
cases.
in obeying, somebody obeyed and somebody disobeyed, in the sense like followed and not followed. How to understand that?
So, in the case of Kumaras, uh, they understood there is a higher principle, and which Brahmaji also reconciled over a period of time. So those are all just pastimes. Okay. So, um, so, so in the case of Kumaras, they understood what was their role, and they refused. Okay. And through that anger, Lord Shiva came, which means all of this is actually an orchestration by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything was orchestrated by the Supreme Lord. Okay. Yes, Sita Komal Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Pranam. Prabhuji,
Dhanavad.
in text number 13, Prabhupada says, he mentions the Bhagavad Gita words, chapter 15, 50 sloka, that remembrance and forgetfulness comes from me. So in continuation of that, he writes in his purport that it is not a fact that the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives direction to certain living entities one way and other living entities in another way. But
Yeah.
Prabhuji, we have also explained and we have also read a couple of times that Krishna guides as per the need of the person, right? Individual person, as is required to progress in his bhakti. So that means he is guiding everyone in different directions, Direction ultimately coming back to Krishna only, but his way of guidance is different.
Yeah. The guidance is according to, for ordinary people who are not devotees, the guidance is according to their karma and swabhava. And the Krishna just facilitates whatever their swabhava pushes in them in a particular direction. If their karma allows, Krishna facilitates. If the karma does not allow, he does not facilitate. And for perfected for devotees, he gives he orchestrates things in a personal way so that they come closer to him like that.
So, Prabhupada, this is still, I'm not finding this in alignment with Prabhupada is saying. He's saying that Krishna, it's not that Krishna gives this direction to certain living entities in one way and to others in different way. But as per
Yeah.
you also said,
He does not, the desire is the living entity's desire, but the external orchestration is according to Krishna. So Krishna will put the living entity in a particular way, and depending on the experience of the living entity and his qualification, he will decide to turn right, turn left, go straight. That is all not that is not forced by Krishna.
okay. And Prabhupada, one more line Prabhupada says that every living entity has a certain desire and Supreme Lord gives him a chance to fulfill it.
Mataji, can we take this question tomorrow? It is already 1 minute past 8:45. So,
Thank you.
so So Kalanidhi Prabhu, if you don't mind, and Sita Komal Mataji, these two questions and some questions are in the chat box, but I want to very strictly follow that 8:45 means 8:45 will stop. So thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.